Okay. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Christian Cano, one of your co-hosts of Coffee and Pan Dulce. It is a Thursday evening. Obviously, we're doing a special show time. I'm one of your co-hosts for Coffee and Pan Dulce, and we're here to pay tribute to someone who became a friend of ours after coming on our show, but many of us knew him prior to coming on our show. We're talking about Joe Odom. Joe Odom was a young man from Charlotte. He ran for mayor in 2019. That's how many of us originally got to meet him within our community. But then he's like one of those persons who didn't stop. He continued his advocacy and activism in our community. And we're here to pay tribute in the best way that we can, or we know how. And I'm sure many other people will be paying tribute to him in many other ways. But as we always do in Coffee and Pan Dulce, we are not starting with music today to honor him. We're not including Baby Trump Pinata or St. Bernie. It's just going to be us. This is how it's going to work. We'll introduce everyone. Please introduce yourself. And in our traditions, we'll your imaginary button. And then we will play a video tribute that's been edited down over 700 minutes. I had to go through because he was on 11 shows and edited all the way down, and have some music in the background so you can focus on his face and all of us. And then when it ends, we'll come back and we'll share our comments about Joel. So once again, let's go around the Brady Bunch screen. And it looks like on the Brady Bunch screen, Mama Ruth, you have to help me on this one. I apologize. Go ahead.
We have Barbara,
okay.
Cindy, myself, Stephen. And
looks like we have Minister Mack with us now. Yes. Okay. And Jenny. And Jenny. Okay. And so once again, how we always do, introduce yourself, and then if you have an imaginary button, and then we'll come back and we'll start the video immediately. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Barb Bacon, and I'm a healthcare advocate here in South Charlotte. My buttons are healthcare for all and gun control. I miss Joel a lot.
I'm Stephen D. Fiore. I'm the recording secretary for the Libertarian Party of Mecklenburg County. My buttons are end qualified immunity. And yeah, just to echo what Barb said, you know, when I first met Joel, I didn't really know much about him, but he had one of those infectious, amazingly friendly personalities. And I feel very lucky to have had the opportunity to know him and befriend him.
Hi, I'm Cindy Lopez, and my imaginary button is Black Lives Matter. I'm from Texas, and I didn't know Joel for very long, but what I did get to know about him was just, he was a very articulate young man who was just so compassionate about what he did, and we're gonna miss him.
Hey everyone, my name is Ruth Perez. Everybody calls me Mama Ruth here in the show. I've known Joe. I knew him for a couple of years already. I knew him before I met him personally. We were Facebook friends, and Joe, even though he was very young, he knew how to capture our hearts. We miss him much. It was very impacting for us, and we hope that wherever he's at, he'll be pleased and happy to see us doing this tribute for him.
Minister Mack, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Minister Corinne Mack. I'm the president of the Charlotte Mecklenburg NAACP, the founder and executive director for UTU, which stands for From Uprising to Uplifting, Uplifting to Unite. I'm also the Charlotte Climate Reality Community Engagement Chairperson, and Justice First, which is a national environmental organization. I am their advisor on the advisory board. I've known Joel for almost 6 years. I thought of him as a son. He used to make me laugh, quite frankly, and call me all times of night, but he used to make me laugh because the things he said was so direct, and it was said with such passion. Usually when he called me, it was because he was angry about a particular issue
Oh.
and wanted me to either tell him, go get him, or, talk him down. But I'm trying not to cry, for such a young man, there was a level of understanding of his accountability to his community and love for his community that you don't see that often. And so I cherish every conversation in my head now. I'm replaying them in my head. And I just wish that I spent more time with him because he just was a lovely, lovely spirit. He truly was. Thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you, Christian. And thank you, Mama
Jenny?
Brooke.
Hey everybody, I'm Jane James again. I am a co-coordinator for Charlotte Pride, and I'm also on the board with National Organization of Women, Charlotte Chapter. Joel's a beautiful bright light, and with a lot of bright lights, they burn out way too fast. And he was definitely one of those. He lit up rooms. I was in awe that he was just so aware, and especially at his age, there was a gravitas to his words that were so humble and so beautiful that very few people have that. And he was a gift. And if he teaches us anything in death, is to all be humble, be grateful for the time that we have, because life is precious and is beautiful, just like his life. Thanks for doing this, Christian, and everybody being here. And it's, I'm in awe of it all. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. And what we'll do now is we'll play the video. It's about 63 minutes long. It's condensed. I actually have all of the 700 minutes and narrowed it down to 2 hours and 30 minutes of him talking. Once he started talking, as you'll see in the video, he wasn't afraid to stop. So this is what we'll play when we'll end, and we'll do some final words as we end this. But once again, this is our tribute to Joel, and here we go.
Sing it, Christian, sing it.
We're live, y'all. Again.
All right.
Stephen, you want to?
Yeah, I'll introduce. Welcome everyone to Coffee and Pan Dulce. This is your intrepid crew this Wednesday. We got Christian Cano, we got Joe Odom, we got Barb Bacon and Cindy Lopez, and of course yours truly, Stephen D. Fiore. And don't forget Baby Trump Pinata, who's to my left, but I don't know where he is on your screen.
Well, yeah, welcome everyone. I'm sorry, we're having technical difficulty because we're Mama Ruthless again today. And apparently I forgot to clean my cookies and browser and all that technical high-tech stuff. So welcome. Today is September 30th. Thank you everyone who's joining us on Facebook Live, but also those who join us later on YouTube, but also on Facebook as well. We have a special show today, our last show of September. Our topic today is going to be Latinx Charlotte and Black Charlotte adversaries or advocates. And then we will also talk on the second half of the show about something that Dr. Bumhawk, Dr. B, as we call it here on the show, mentioned a couple of weeks ago about wearing masks and the benefits of wearing masks and herd immunity. It's interesting to hear what Stephen has to say about that as well. So before we start, once again, we are going to go around. We salute first. I forgot. I'm really discombobulated today. Next.
Oh, okay. Well, hello everyone. Hello everyone. I'm Joel Odom. I am a native Charlottean, 2019 mayoral candidate here in Charlotte. I serve on the board of Generation Nation, and also I am a CMB Explorer. I am with the Boy Scouts, and I am a faithful member of St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, and I do a lot of community service and see what happens here in Charlotte. And if I were to have a plan, it would be Black Lives Matter and fight the battle.
Before we get started, I just think getting a response from the audience is, what did you think of the presidential debate last night? It was the same.
I'll go first.
Yeah, really.
So, in 30 seconds, I'm gonna try my best to compose it. I thought the debate last night was very, very insulting to the African American community, especially when the president said, "I have done more for blacks in this country than President Abraham Lincoln." And that is so insulting because it belittles what we have gone through as a people and as a nation. And it always throws me that a lot of people don't say, hey, he's not saying I have done more since President Johnson, who enacted the Civil Rights Bill to allow everyone in this nation to vote. And allow because mind you, in the Civil Rights Bill, we have got a lot of rights, handicap rights, women's rights. We have fought so hard for all people. And he always goes back to when it's only Caucasians and blacks. And he's saying, well, slavery was just a walking apart. I guess forget about the rape things, forget about tearing families apart, forget about the heartache and the pain. Because, you know, apparently we don't feel pain. We don't feel the same feelings as this. So it was very insulting to me. I talked about Silver's July and said both of these two was very insulting. Very insulting. But Biden, take it off. You have to be and talk about strike. Talk about music. Telling the president to shut up. I do believe in my heart, I already voted just like you on this Bacon. So I voted for Biden. And whether or not, okay, maybe it might not be the best choice, I would rather pick someone that will sit up here and try to do something instead of saying, we have already arrived. What you're talking about, what you think of. Now I've done it all. So that's just my interpretation of it. It could have been a lot better. I just felt sorry for the anchor who had the moderator who had to sit there and try to regulate two grown men who are at the seat of power for freedom. And so I just can't imagine telling the president to shush and sir, be quiet. That right there just says a lot. Because I knew I couldn't take that job.
Anybody else going to do 30 seconds?
So to me, if you know history, South America is rich in a mix of different cultures. So to me, Hispanics or Latinx people or anyone with any Spanish descent, really, or Hispanic descent or Latino descent, we're all brothers and sisters at the end of the day. And that's how I take it. Because if you're not Caucasian in this country, and you're not rich, and you don't have that pedigree that goes back 100 years, you're not on the boat with them. We're all in the same boat together and we have to carry this fight. They're not paying taxes. 7, a lot of people, I was looking at this, someone was like, well, there are Black billionaires. I said, there's only 7. And I'm just like, and it doesn't even go past like the $10 billion threshold. They're all in the low single digits. And that's because we have to pay taxes. There's something to say, but look at LeBron James, look at Tyler Perry, Oprah, Mike, they're being taxed. The federal government, everybody is watching every single thing. They don't have the luxury of Donald Trump.
I guess when the Black community here in Charlotte, when they're fighting for justice and so forth, do you feel like the Latinx community, and you can use the word Hispanic, I use the word Latinx, Hispanic, Latino, some people use those terms. Do you feel that we are helping you or we are standing in your way?
I will never say that anyone that is on the side of moving any group of people in this country forward is in our way. As long as you're not saying, well, I'm a conservative or something like that, to me, we're on the same side because we have to move forward. A lot of people say they're conservative. To me, anyone that's not really Caucasian saying they're a conservative, they really have to do some soul searching, because in this country, in this system, what do you have to really conserve? And I get abortions and I do get gay marriage and stuff like that. But to me, abortions is really a humanitarian issue. And a lot of people have issues with abortions. And let's get one thing straight. If you know history, it always go back to history. People did not have a problem killing Black children. They came up with abortions because there were white women having mulatto children. Mm-hmm. And there were Black women having mulatto children. And they had to figure out a way to keep that down. But see, they did not plan on the white woman having the choice to abort a white child. So when you have someone saying, well, I'm a conservative when it comes to abortion, I'm a conservative when it comes to marriage, I'm gonna remember all these things. There was the church, there was marriage, there were all these things back then with slavery. Remember, the Confederates were conservative. They were trying to hold on to slavery, and they did not want the federal government to intervene. That's probably why a lot of people don't like paying federal taxes, because if it was not for the federal government, African Americans would not be free. African Americans would not have the rights to vote. African Americans would not be counted in the amendments. You got the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. And then a lot of people will say, well, it should be the state's choice. But states does not have the better interest of all people they can consider. So to me, the Hispanic community is an ally. And the only thing I have to say really that somewhat bothers me is if you're in this country and you are should make an effort to be a U.S. citizen so they can vote, so they can serve this country, and not just by military service, but also in the elections, and also with possible medicine and everything else they can do what they can. And at the same time, they can also pay their fair share. Because that's why this country is in the way that it is. The little guy, the poor people are paying all the taxes, and the rich people are holding all the money. And so we have to do something. We have to make a change. Okay, look at what they're doing right now. He's trying to get Black people to vote for him on a hope that he's going to put almost $500 million in the African American community. That is a hope. It's basically saying, it's like you just have to pick between two evils. You know, forget everything I've done, don't be upset that I appointed over 156 federal judges, 156 all white judges. I posted yesterday that he bragged that he's going to try to put 300 judges in office. And by his actions, judge a man by his character and his actions, not by the words that he said. His actions tell me he's going to appoint 300 conservative white judges. And that means that they're going to put white supremacy, white base, and white hope back into the American hearts of these people that want to be like Donald so bad. And so that's just a big no for me. And I'm just not going to sit there. James Baldwin said it best. Whenever a Black person really tries to identify himself or just push and try to vote and, stand for himself, you always get called either racist, you're then the bigot. And it's just like we have to make decisions not on a person's character. It's just like you're not supposed to judge a white man by his character or his actions, by his words. You're always supposed to think he's a messiah. He's the hope for this country and for your life. And that's not true. And I'm not going to sit here like so many people and idolize this man, because that is just blasphemous just by itself. So I agree totally with you. It's just, Miss Becky, you just don't know. I told you it was so much.
Well, we're gonna, Joe, you want to say something real quickly, and then we got to close off the show.
Well, I am so grateful to be on your show. I was just so excited. The show has been an eye-opener for so many people. I just know what it is. When it comes to the medical field, I do believe that if we had a leader with common sense, that's not a doctor, lawyer, and Indian chief, because that's what he is. He knows everything. And when his doctorate had told people to put bleach in their arms. So
He didn't like this comment last night, did he?
Yeah, it was. We'll start with you, Joel.
I'm going to be in a couple of days. I will be at the Salvation Army Center of Hope doing a birthday surprise Hope for the Homeless for my birthday, October the 8th. I'll be there October the 10th. And so we're asking for twin bed sheets and socks and health products. We're calling Blessing Bag. And I will be at a prayer visual Saturday uptown at Marshall Park. That's where I'll be. And home for majority of it.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. What a great show. Thank you so much for joining us on Coffee and Ponduce. We will see you next week, which is our politics. Thank you, Dr. B, for joining us. And great shirt. Yes, Black Lives Matter. Joel, thank you, community advocate. Thank you so much from Charlotte joining us as well. Cindy from Texas, thank you for joining us. We're always glad to have you. Our neighbor, Barbara Bacon, we hope that the house, all the construction is going on. And now your yard, oh my goodness. Stephen, thank you, good luck, and we need a sign, so I gotta give you my address after this. Mama Ruth, I hope you're, good to see you. Good to see you, and so forth. And of course, Jeff Scott, our other host, is on hiatus until after the election. We hope he'll make a surprise appearance in the next month that we have left before the elections. Stay safe, everyone, mask up, and we will see you next week on Coffee and Ponduce.
Ready?
We're live.
Good morning, everyone.
You're gonna do the beat though.
I'm in pain. I can't scream
Good
right
morning,
now.
good morning.
But good morning, everyone. Who's ready to vote?
Good morning. So I guess it's my turn. I'm Joel Odom. I am a Charlotte native, community advocate. And if I had a button, it would be Medicare for all. We vote. And after volunteering for the baby and $1 billion entertainment, I get this free hoodie and I love it because it's vote, baby, vote. There go my buttons and who I am. And thank you all again for having me on your show.
Buddy, it's awesome.
Oh, what? The joke? It was a joke. Like Kumo said, a bunch of bullshit when it comes to him taking off that mask and acting like he has beat COVID-19 and telling Americans not to be afraid, not to care. He's setting a bad example because first off, every American is not part of the 1%. Second, they're not the president of these United States of America, and they don't have access to the health care he is trying to deny so many in this country. So to me, he's nothing but a hypocrite. He's a liar, he's a cheat, and he's full of shit. I'm telling you.
Joe, this is a family show.
I'm sorry.
So what? Where are all of you?
Sorry, this is Micah. So I'm Joel Odom, and you will be able to find me tomorrow, probably celebrating my birthday, my 22nd birthday. And for my birthday, I'm partnering with the Salvation Army of Charlotte Center of Hope Shelter for Women and Children to raise twin bed bed sheets, blankets, socks, and health products for the displaced and the needy right now. So if you would like to donate, it's a drop and go. You can just come between the hours of 11 and 2 p.m. and drop off any twin bed sheets, blankets, socks, or health products to the Center of Hope for Women and Children.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching Coffee and Dulce. What a great show. We had so many great candidates.
I don't have a bottle, but here's my coffee mug.
All right. I'm Joel Odom. I am a community advocate here in Charlotte. I am also a political, how do you say, activist. I am also an activist in Charlotte. I'm a Charlotte native, and Charlotte's my home. And if I had an imaginary button, it would be Black Lives Matter, Medicare for All, and vote, baby, vote.
Tell us what you think. Or do you want to?
Okay, I'm unmuted. All right. Well, so in my family's been here for a long time. On my dad's side, they've been in Charlotte for over 130 years. And my great-grandmother Vera, who came down from Lexington Park, Maryland, she came down in Charlotte when they purchased the Excelsior Club on British Ford in like 1968, helped purchase it. And so and my mother passed away when I was 8, but I saw the dynamic just growing up around strong women, you know. I was fortunate enough, I might have lost my mom, but I had 2 great grandmothers and 2 regular grandmothers. And you cannot believe that I would eat all the time. There would be food all the time. And it's just bad. I just recently lost a lot of weight just from exercising and dieting. I was pushing 278 pounds. I was 278 pounds. Yeah. But see, and yeah, it's just a lot of food, a lot of good food. And so, you know, just seeing from my great grandmother, Inez Stevenson, how she was a birth mother and how she was just very strong. She raised 13 kids and just she was always there for my grandfather. They passed away, they both passed away in 2018, a month apart from my marriage. She died in November, he passed away December 31st. And you know, that dynamic of marriage, of just being together for over 74 years, I just saw something that a lot of people really weren't fortunate enough to see, which is like just the power of marriage. Even with my great grandma Laura, she got a divorce from my grandfather, but you know, he wanted her back. She said she ain't gonna back. She said, ain't the parents, leave me alone. I said, all right, I'm like, all right. She said, my grandma won't do right. I said, whatever. I've always been blessed and fortunate enough to have strong women in my life. My mom was a fighter. She did everything. And just thinking about if she was alive today, just to see what I would do. You know, I read from there at 19, but my mom was even alive. I would just hate to see what would happen because she would just be on it. And so funny. In the African American community, when I ran against Bilaos in 2019, you know, just running, just being 20 years old, just running for an office, you cannot imagine the scrutiny that I had to go on, had just fell on me. And it wasn't really, it was a big shock. You know, a lot of white people were so excited for me, and you know, they helped out with stuff. No lie, they helped me out a lot. But when it came to the African American community, for like when it comes to like the Enchalant, like the BPC and other organizations, people involved in politics, they're just so hateful.
Yeah.
Because it comes down to, you know, it's all right. We want you to vote, but we want you to vote for who we tell you to vote for.
Well,
you know, we want you to be
I know
involved.
that pain.
Yeah, we want you to be involved, but we want you to be involved for who we tell you to do. You know, it's that we want you to do what we tell you to do mentality. Because I've had a woman come up to me and tell me, would you run against Dr. King? I was like, damn, I didn't know it was like that. I was at church and then well, I will be out probably just the rest of the week working with my friends and my teammates on just figuring out different things I can do and what we can do to help make Charlotte better, and just helping around with my grandparents, just getting ready for the fall raking. You know, I got my new phone yesterday because I misplaced my other phone. I put it down and someone took it. So that's what I just really been doing. I got my new phone and I just been trying to update and get everything together. But that's what I'll be doing for the rest of the week. And it's just great. It's great. Hey, Mr. Bacon.
How are you?
Good. Good.
Even though we're not that happy this morning, but we are happy of ourselves, who we are, and we love ranchero music. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Dulce.
That's all. I'm good.
You're on TV.
All right.
Oh yeah, I think I was the most handsome guy on the TV.
Yeah, I saw you.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Joel Odom. I am a Charlotte native. I am an advocate for the African American community and also the city of Charlotte, the people of Charlotte. I represent be, if I had a button, it would be Black Lives Matter, vote, baby, vote, and Medicare for all. And that's it.
How'd you feel when you went to sleep?
Well, I did go to sleep. I actually slept, I slept like a baby. I think sometimes like the context of how Michelle Obama said it kind of confuses people because they literally think like when someone goes low and they shoot you in the gut, you just go high. I don't know. On stage, you take the high road. You throw a grenade underneath his table. You do some shady stuff too, but just don't get caught. If you get caught, get it together. Keep it clean.
Black Americans and white Americans, that any person in there.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, he's a regular Abraham Lincoln. That guy.
Oh no, Mr. Abraham Lincoln there.
I know.
That was the funniest line in the debate. I have to say that I cracked up. I was like, that's a good one. That's a good
I
one.
said that to Joe because he's still saying that. He's still, last night, at his last campaign rallies, he's still using that line. And we're just gonna have it. Listen, we'll have
It goes back to what Mama Ruth was saying about we are all human beings. Dr. Maya Angelou said, I am a human being. Nothing human could be alien to me. And that was a quote by Terence, one of the Black Greeks from way back then. And in the dialect that it's used in, it's like I homo sum la human being in punto. I am a human being, nothing human can be alien to me. And so we do have to translate that back. You can do it, I do, because we are all people. We all make mistakes. That is something that happens. But to me, for me, not trying to be mean or something, but when I do see people in bad habits, I will say something. Now, if you're wearing a shirt that says Trump supporter, I don't have a problem with that. A Trump shirt, and this like that, no problem. But when you start getting into Make America Great Again, and then you want to get into not wearing the mask, I say something. Like, I went somewhere this morning I was at Starbucks. This guy walks in, no mask, no nothing. He just said, wait a minute. I said, hold on. I said, and I used this, this way I try to curse, but I'm not cursing. But it was like, I was just like, I guess you just say F us all, huh? I said, I don't care. And that's what I said. I mean, it's ridiculous. And especially in South Carolina, because they don't have any mask mandate. So they're going down, they're down there, and then they're coming up here with all that corona, and then they're trying to put us back on lockdown. That's exactly how I feel about it.
And make a MAGA. Let's make a MAGA and we can do it. It doesn't be Republican way.
I feel like the hat should say, let's make America great. When you say great again, I'm trying to figure out what are you talking about?
Yes.
Name to me what you were talking about. What time, what era, what are you talking about? Because you
Maybe bring back the Native Americans. That was the only time that America was great.
I'm trying to figure out what are you talking about? Make America great again. And I'm just like, do you not realize that you just get freedom?
Maybe send back to Trump and family back to their country.
Come on, make America great again. Can you give me a time and can you give me a date? I'll be going what I'm doing. I guess staying home, helping. I raked up the yard. I mean, try to limit my time going places and connecting with Stephen and just connecting with some of our local officials on what are we going to do with the upcoming 2021 elections coming up and other stuff like that. That's what I'm really doing.
Thank Thank you so much for watching Coffee and Bondus. It was a great conversation. We tried to put the best face on with the election results still coming in. Next week, we'll be talking about Medicare and Medicare Advantage, the differences. Thank you, Barbara, our neighbor, co-host Mama Ruth, Joe Olin, our community advocate neighbor. Kelly, thank you so much. Join us anytime you want. See how things you do. And of course, Stephen, congratulations on getting the votes that you got. But I know you're going to be involved. And Stephen, please continue. You may have to take over Jeff Scott's spot because we'll see what happens with that. So we'll see you next week, y'all. Bye. It's my dad's there.
I'm very danceable.
I didn't pick this one.
We can make it work.
Alexa, stop. This is a family show. I got to. Baby got back. I don't know if anybody remembers that song.
Well, at least it wasn't WAP.
Oh,
Oh, man.
we're live, y'all.
As someone of Italian heritage, I'm not a fan of that song.
Oh, I'm amazed you've even heard it.
I'm
That's
plugged
a-
into
that's
the
a-
culture. I
I've been,
know what the young kids are all about these days.
There you go.
I've been eating, dreaming, and waking up to Monster Mash.
Oh,
That's pretty innocent.
it's a Halloween. Well,
Yeah, my 2-year-old grandson, he's like every single 5 minutes he wants to listen to that.
well,
All right. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Joel Odom. I'm a Charlotte native. I'm a city advocate for many things. One being just Black Lives Matter, housing, and all right now. All right. And if I was to have a button, it would be Medicare for all, or I don't really know Medicare. You know, I'm not that seasoned. Just healthcare. And that's it.
this is pre-COVID.
But when I went, I had to leave. I had to leave immediately because I saw it with my own eyes. I mean, kid you not. People have masks, but it's on the cheap. That is some scary stuff. And then, like all the diseases you were just, I'm not disease, but all the healthcare issues you were just talking about. Talking about high blood pressure, diabetes, and everything else. Kid you not. Those were the people, the high-risk people. They were the ones there. They were the ones wearing no masks. And I mean, you know they got diabetes because their ankles swell or the arm, the wrist swell. You just can see that people aren't doing what they should do to lower the risk so that everyone can start going back and enjoying themselves. Because that's something I do.
Joe,
All right, well, I will be taking over. I'll just probably just be with my family for Thanksgiving. Not my entire family, but this year I'm only going to be spending it with 4 people. So that is, thank you, Dr. I'm trying. We're trying. So that is how I'm going to be spending my Thanksgiving. You can find me working with, I just got back in touch with a woman at the Cabarrus Juvenile Detention Center. And so I'm trying to figure out what we can do as a city, as a community to show love to some of the children that is behind bars who didn't make the perfect choice or the right choices. But hopefully we can, show them that it's not too late. And we're thinking about them because that's something that was just on my heart. I went to the juvenile detention center in 2019, and not a lot of people are talking about the juveniles. So that's something that we should talk about and mention and do something nice. So you probably can't get them a gift. You can probably get them a card. So I'll talk to you next week about it.
Joe, I think that's fantastic. I couldn't agree more with that point that's, folks in these facilities are the most overlooked. And I think for so many of them, it obviously they had choices, but I think the system was stronger in putting them there than their own choices. So it's just a hard thing for everybody to kind of
turn off.
Oh, that's Jenny from the block, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining us on Coffee and Ponducci. Hopefully we gave you some great tips for Thanksgiving and the holidays for COVID-19, and we talk about a lot of other stuff. Next week, very important show. We're bringing people back together after the election to try to come back together as neighbors. Oh, I know we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Si se puede. Si se puede.
Si se puede.
That's right. Even libertarians.
He ain't got no choice. He's not gonna get rid of us.
I just want a platform, man. That's all I want. Let my voice be heard.
Thank you. Does anybody know who this is?
My favorite singer, Selena.
Selena, we're live. Tell us about what bring us back together again. You came in a little late. I know you're.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm in the mountains.
That's fine. Oh, wonderful. Let's chill out here. All right. So you know, how do you think we can come together as neighbors after this election?
Well, for me personally, I do believe that we as this country can come together because ours was, well, you know, I do read and everything. So John F. Kennedy once said, when we were dealing with one of the worst moments in history for Africans, just for anybody of color, you know, he said, we breathe the same air, we all care about our children's future, and we all die. And so we all are the same. So I do believe personally that we can come together if you have to be willing. You have to be willing to come together. That's the first thing. You're not willing to change, there won't be any change. And that's just the problem because there's just so much pushback that you're going to get behind it. But like you were saying, I did run for mayor. I ran for mayor in Charlotte because there was so much happening. And for one, I'm not afraid to speak on stuff. You know, nobody pays my bills. Nobody has anything on me. I'm only 22 years old. You know, like they looked into my taxes. I don't owe anybody. So it's just like, you can't really do anything to me. And so I have that privilege. All young people have that privilege to stand up and just speak out, speak up. But sad to say, you see a lot of elected officials that's just been in the game for a long time. It's just like, oh, he or she's coming to try to take my spot. But it's not really your spot. It's the people's spot.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
That was very well said. God, when you talk, I think you're like 40 and 50. So I just thought, but it would just, no, it's wonderful to see young people engaged because we always complain about how young people aren't engaged. And then when they get engaged, we tell them, oh, it's not your time. So it's like,
I mean, there's an old saying. You can
thank you to co-host Mama Ruth. Thank you, our neighbors, Joel, Barb, Janice, Colette, Stephen, of course, and have a very happy Thanksgiving. We will see you next week to talk about another exciting show on Coffee and Ponducci. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
We're live.
Is that Tony Bennett?
Who is it? Yeah, it is Tony Bennett. Let it snow. No, not here. Let it snow in the mountains. It's already snowing.
It's good, right.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's already snowing.
I like this song. All right, we're live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday show, Coffee and Pan Dulce. How's everybody doing with this cold weather?
It's cold.
It's nice and cold.
It's cold.
You're from New York. I mean, this is like springtime.
This is springtime weather. What are you talking about?
Oh, Lord. You're muted.
Okay.
Yep.
I love the turtleneck.
Excited to just get me story. I'm always excited to share. My name is Joel Odom. I am a community community in Charlotte, North Carolina. If I had a button, Black Lives Matter. If I had a mask, my mask on, it'll say, vote, baby, vote. Always encourage people to vote. Just be sure.
Well, thank you, Joe, for doing what you're doing and tag us all on social media and share with our individuals.
Put it on the Coffee and Pandusi.
Yes. The flyer that he had with us yesterday, I'm going to be putting in there. Who's that? Thank you so much for joining us on Coffee and Pandusi. It was great to talk about. The topic today was, will Joe Biden be better for our Latinx Americans? And with great insight from our wonderful guests, Stephen DeFiore, and also Barbara Bacon and Joel Oldham. Joel Oldham is a fashion designer, isn't he? Joel Oldham, yes, Joel Oldham. Of course, Mama Ruth, our co-host as well. We'll see you next Wednesday when we talk about the great debate, Medicare for all. So we'll see you next week, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. This is the song I think Dr. D wrote here last week. So
That sounds too cruel.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to be funny.
That went on.
Way too long. Yeah.
That doesn't, Oh man, well, good morning everyone. Merry Christmas and Xmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and everything else in between.
Navidad.
And Feliz Navidad, I'm so glad. I'm Joel Odom. Good morning. I am a community advocate here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I am born and raised Charlotte native, North Carolina native, or North Carolinian. And if I had a button, it would say Black Lives Matter and vote.
Joel wants to jump in. Joel, go ahead. Joel.
You know what was so funny? I just thought about this. One time I asked my own mom, I think we got my grandma, and because my grandmother, everybody always had white. Santa Claus is always black. There'll always be like a black people. But I was like, I said, wait a minute. I was like, on TV, the man is white. And I said, wait a minute. I said, Santa Claus back is black or white? And I'll never forget that. It was just like, my grandma was like, it doesn't really matter about his color, but he's black.
That's kind of what I was curious about, because I mean, I'm wondering if, and unfortunately, Santa didn't look like anyone in my family. None of my family. So not that would have made me believe in Santa. I don't think it would be. Kind of like his character, figure, whatever. But I mean, like I said, most of the men in my family can't grow beards, and very hard to. I've been growing this for like a month. This mustache, this everything, which I'll have to shave. None of us. So I'm curious. I mean, Stephen probably just a weekend. That's a weekend growth that he's got there. And I don't know, but I mean, Mama Ruth. I mean, I know your husband has a much. I mean, we have I think we have. I mean, next week's show we're talking about living Latinx and living as a Christian. I mean, we have the same challenge, I think, in some families. Maybe not necessarily in my family, but whether Jesus is white. Because the pictures we always had was a white Jesus, and now it wasn't.
Oh no, he was definitely blonde hair, blue eyes. That's how I was raised. Even though he didn't look Italian at all, he looked like a German.
Yeah.
Definitely that.
Thanks, Joel. I know this thing that I don't know, Joel, you still doing the card present. You still do that. You can write a Christmas card or holiday cards at night, and you can can mail it to him or you can have since they will be delivered to juveniles. Is that the juveniles? I don't know.
Same.
How do you get?
Are we here?
Oh, I thought I was muted. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Sorry, I just finished working out, so I'm still here at the club, but I'll be doing my show from here.
Joel, Dr. B, Barbara, Mama Ruth, Steve. Is that okay?
Sounds like that.
Okay, all right. Here we go. Joel, you go first.
Hello, everyone, and good morning. I'm Joel Odom, Charlotte native, city advocate. And if I was to put my new Medicare for all, I was to have a shirt, it would be Black Lives Matter. Okay, I'm done.
Well, next, I'm happy to land Joel, Black Lives Matter shirt. Give me your address, I'll send you one. Everybody will have one.
I'm spending so much time on these individuals that I don't care about anymore. If they want us, they're gonna screw up somehow. They're like the really bad employee that you spend a lot of time on, that you really just have to say, I gotta fire and get rid of. So, Joel, and then we'll switch to COVID-19.
Well, I just do want to say this. This is why, you know, we as a people, this nation has faced something like this before. And what we've seen, what you're talking about, the far, the right conservative wing or whatever, when they're protest and destruction of whatever, they've been protesting, right, to conserve education. They've protested the right to separate us from bathrooms and housing and jobs. They've been conserving the right to separate us from healthcare, from wealth, from growth, from spiritual development. And so they've been protesting. And what we've seen January the 6th is the same thing that we saw in the 1960s when the Ku Klux Klan had the Million McMahon March, and they kept marching all up and down the streets of Washington, D.C., and you have members of Congress in the Senate, supporters of the Ku Klux Klan, and was out there with them, had their children with them. So when we talk about, well, the right doesn't really protest like that, and when they do get violent, they've always been violent. I clearly remember seeing young men being attacked by dogs and shot and beaten and raped and cut. And so when we have to think of this, you have to think of this from a real deep standpoint of where we are as a nation. And this Black thing is not just a white thing. It's not just a Christian or a non-Christian or a Republican or a Democratic thing. This is a human life crisis. We're in the middle of a crisis. And what we're right now, you're seeing, then President Johnson said it best, and that's what I always like to quote him. These people are at this point where they want to hit pause and they want to hit rewind. But time is catching up, and no matter what they do, I understand they do have the guns and they got the weapons and they got this and that. But you know, at the end of the day, people will not remain to be oppressed. They're not going to be satisfied with the bones and the scraps. And you're seeing that not just in America, you're seeing that all across the country, in China, Russia, and all these different places. People are getting up and they are revolting, they are rebelling because you cannot oppress a people. No matter what you want to do, no matter what you got, the money or the guns, that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the people that don't have nothing to lose. So you have to sit there, and we really need to work on coming together, and we have to press play, because I'm a young Black man. There are young brown and Latinx young men and women out there. They're not going to sit there anymore and say, well, we got to wait our turn. We're moving. It's times are changing. And you know.
Yeah, Joe, you're exactly right. That's really what I meant to say, Stephen. Not as great as.
Yeah, no, Joel, that was fantastic. I mean, that's a message that gets fire in the belly of, you know, almost any patriotic American. It's one I agree with. Moving forward in the right direction is the way we want to go. You know, there are different ways to do that, but yeah, like move forward. We don't want to go back to the past, right?
Yeah.
So in they put the Confederate flags on. So those are the people that want to keep the bus where we are. They want to hit pause. That's what they're saying. Let's make America great again. They're trying to go back. But too many good-willed, smart, talented, young, multicultural, mixed race, spiritual gifted young people, and older people, and seasoned people that want to keep moving forward. Life is going to move forward, whether you're for it or against. But all ages are going to keep on going. And so, to me, I think we need to set an example, a powerful example, by saying you can't tolerate it. And whether, yes, I do get that, yeah, because of the color of our skin, they have homeland security there. But you know what? The most powerful message is that we know who's the thugs and who's the criminals, because it's just two different things, two different scenarios, and you have two different outcomes. They're like, to me, the Capitol, what does the Capitol really have to do? You know, you're robbing, you're destroying stuff. What does that have to do with your message of really just getting there?
Well, so, I agree. Listen, we got to move on because we don't have a lot of time. Yeah. Let's say, Joe, you want to go first, and then we'll go Joe, Dr. B, Stephen, Barbara, and Mama Ruth.
Well, in the next week or so, I don't know what I'll be doing. Probably just get my life together, you know, with the upcoming city, with the upcoming local election. So I'm just figuring out what's going on, what's happening, and what to do. That's all. I'm just trying to figure out. I'll be home.
Thank you everyone for joining us on Coffee and Ponducci. It was a great show. We talked about a lot, and we'll talk about a lot next week also. So, all right. Just move your mouth.
Morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday.
Black Lives Matter shirt pants too. Can't wait to share all that with you. Just continue to work hard in the city and try to make the best and move forward in upward mobility for everyone in the city of Charlotte so we can live a better life. And I just found out, you know, a lot, due to government officials in Texas, you know, that celebrated the electricity grid, raise the power grid, so they don't have to pay more in taxes. And so you really get to see how the big guy keeps stepping on the little guy's neck. But what I can say is, with the new president and with everything that's going on with the new administration, there's a new day.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying.
Only reason he spoke so much about the media being fake news and this and that is because he was so involved in the the misconstruement of information to the public.
Yeah.
Well, you have the Central Park 5, and he paid for all that advertisement to see those young men locked up who were innocent. No proof, no evidence, no data to say they did it or didn't do it. But he invested millions, just like Dr. Obama's birth certificate. He invested millions of dollars into the media, and he's talking about, well, it's all the fake. Well, at first he knows it's fake because he's been a part of it for so long. But then what we have to get to is that we just need to find people that's rooted and trying to get to the truth. Like there's a disconnection. Like if you look at a picture, they can't really help it because it's how they were raised. Just like when I was backseat that car, and you have a man who was raised in like the 40s or something, he's talking about trash. So it's like you have to really look at the upbringing of people. And
That's kind of what we need to have the conversation because don't forget the film. Joe, you're in it.
Well, I'm Joel, and I'll be in Charlotte this weekend and probably till next week. I don't really know. But, I'm just doing the same things and focusing on Tent City and different services and different stuff like that in the community and different elections.
No, are you involved with the new transit, the links on the east of Charlotte?
No, I'm not, no.
No?
It's a mess. I wouldn't get involved in it.
But that's it.
Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us on Coffee and Pondusi. It was a great show talking about why people don't trust the media, Latinx people specifically. Thank you, Mama Ruth. It's great to have you back. Thank you, our neighbor, Barbara Bacon. Joel Odom, thank you so much for being with us. Always great having you. St. Bernie, Stephen, we miss you. Hopefully we'll see you next week. And everyone else who joined us in Coffee and Pondusi. Next week, we're talking about racism. White women, the queens of racism. Very important conversation. See you next week on Coffee and Pondusi.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, she's got some rhythm.
He does, yeah.
And
Woo, merengue.
I don't remember the dance that. And we're live.
It's the happy hour, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Pan Dulce special edition. What is it? The happy hour?
The happy hour, yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joel Odom, community advocate, community organizer, Charlotte native. And, if I was to have a button, it would be Black Lives Matter. If I was to have a pen, it would be, get our kids, educational system together. It's just, there's so many things with buttons. It's too much, but that's who I am. That's what I do.
All right. Greetings, everyone. Joe, jump in real quickly. I know you wanted to say something.
Oh, well, I want to say, they've done studies, even a Chinese doctor, and they did a trying to prove that Asians had evolved from their own Homo sapien, that they didn't come from any African origin or anything like that. They had their own person. And they tested, I think, over 100,000. And it came back that they all had genetics of African descent. That's anyone, well, you know, this goes back to just knowledge. All life, you know, started in Africa, and you know, only one people. There's different shades of people, but there's only one people, and only one race. And so, you know, that's why I really never got touchy about who I am. I see pride in Hispanic history. I see pride. You know, when I found out that the second African president of Mexico, the second president of Mexico was African American, African Latino, that see pride in me. And you know, when I find out that there, you know, first colleges in West and Africa, you have Timbuktu, you have North Florida, you have a lot of stuff that you have to take part in because it is a part of you.
No, Joe, and that's to me is what is so fascinating about learning all of our history and talking about this cross cultures, cross heritages. What's so fascinating is how much we really have that in there, so that way people want to know. Because there was a question that was put to me when we decided to do the show. Why do we need to celebrate Black History Month? Because it made us all who we are, and we need to support our those who currently are struggling because of something as simple as their skin is not the same skin color as mine. And
I can say one thing about where I see pride in Black History Month, it is if we were to be honest, and if they were to tell the truth, and if they were to be real on a level of how things started, what things are for, and how it came about, then there would be really no need to celebrate African American for a month, because we would be celebrated the whole year. The Jew liberty was given because of the abolition of slavery. It was not because of give me, you're tired, you're hungry, you're starving. It was because, look it up, Abraham Lincoln paired up with a French artist who was against, you know, was for the abomination of slavery. And in their country, in France, they ended slavery. He was an abolitionist, and he said, here, Congress actually voted to change the statute, because the first statute was supposed to have changed it. She was supposed to be bronze, she was supposed to be brown, but the Congress, the United States Congress voted to change the statute. But the artist fought for the chains to still be on the statute. And the chains are still there, but at her feet, you wouldn't know it. And so the part is when people say, well, why do we have to celebrate African American? What, you know, the month, you know, just give credit where the credit's due, and you won't have to celebrate a month. You would celebrate all year.
go ahead, Ed.
That is true.
And see, that's the nitty gritty of it all, because that's how they wanted it to be. Because at the end of the day, like, you have so many people say, well, Black on Black crime, Black people need to do this. Well, I just have a question. What if Congress was never voted to have that statue changed, and little Black kids and little brown kids and little just different shades of children would look at that statue and they see a Black woman being free, feeling what that have? Would there be as much crime? Would there be as much hate that we have for ourselves? The people work to be honest about how things came about, how inventions started. Because if we come down to it, Black people, Africans, whatever, were involved in everything, some way, some shape, some form. And that's something that a lot of people try to take away from. Because like found out, Christopher Columbus had a Black navigator. it's just so much and so much rich and fullness. And the sad part is, when mostly to me, when I think of these people, I just think of people that are just worldly people. That's how I think about it. I think of that, you know.
But Joe, you said something that's very interesting. I want to kind of piggyback on that. But we also want to join someone who is joining us from Texas. Apparently, her power is on, or she wouldn't be coming in. Cindy Lopez, one of our neighbors from Texas.
Well, and you know, Joe Biden said, you know, the other day during his first TV appearance, not TV appearance, but you know, his first town hall, he addressed. I would have never thought he would have said it, but it just shows you how dangerous we're ready to get. You know, he said that the most, when they asked, what is the most dangerous for American democracy? You have the president of these United States say the Ku Klux Klan, ex-military and police and stuff like that. When you have a white man that's 78 years old now, he knows that the most dangerous threat to American democracy is white supremacy. It tells you that we are getting ready to hit a breaking point, because at the end of the day, the world, melanin, at the end of the day, anyone speaks for somebody of color. If you make the child is going to have color. So white is going in the negative. The white genotype is going in a negative descent, because as the president said, like he said more integration, more interrelationships, more, you know, more dynamics in that ethnic changes. So, and even when he said that older people, he said he included stuff, we have to step back. We're talking about a new wake of in generations, you know. And so the times are changing, and what we're seeing is just a bunch of people not wanting to let go.
That's true. And the insurrection must be called a right.
That's right.
And let's be clear about that.
That's right.
Now, Tony, what you said is so important, because back in 2016, when President Obama was president, go ahead, Joel. You want to say something?
No, I have to go.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Joel, for joining us, and we'll have to do the promo without you. Good seeing you. Next.
Joel? Oh, okay. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm Joel Odom. I am a native Charlottean, 2019 mayoral candidate here in Charlotte. I serve on the board of Generation Nation, and also I am a CMPD explorer. I am with the Boy Scouts, and I am a faithful member of St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, and I do a lot of community service and civic advocacy here in Charlotte. And if I were to have a pen, it would be Black Lives Matter and fight the power.
Well, just a couple things. If you're watching this on Facebook, I know the background music was a little overwhelming at certain times, but if you put your earphones in, watch this later, you can actually hear his voice. And we may want to just go ahead and release it without the music also, so that way you can hear his voice. But that's only a fraction of a lot of the stuff that we had to edit down. So I want to go around. I know we went a little over, and I apologize because I know everyone's time is valuable, but I think this is just a, you know, tell us, I just have to say, when Joel started the first time, I don't know if you guys remember the first time he was on, the topic was Latinx and Black Charlotte advocates or adversaries. And I called him and I said, because I wanted to be on the show for a while, and he actually looked up like what Latinx meant, and he did his research. And I said the last time that he was actually one of the few people who actually like did homework before the show. And he was so well, I mean, if you watch him, and I know the music, if you just watch everyone's faces, he knew what he was talking about. I mean, he just like, he schooled us on the Statue of Liberty, and it was just so, I don't know if you could, if you watch this, even if you just turn the sound off and just watch us, we're like going, wow. I mean, it's just, so let's go around and just tell me what you want to add or so forth about, you know, about him being on our show. Who would like to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
I didn't realize that I missed several of times he was on, but he was always so respectful and so smart. And I don't know, he the first time I talked to him, he called me Miss Bacon. You know, I haven't been called Miss Bacon since I can't remember when, but you can call me Barb, but he always called me Miss Bacon, just so polite and smart and giving. And when he was going through all that with trying to get the cards to those kids in jail for Christmas and everything, and I had texted him and said, where do I bring them? And he was so excited. And I mean, he just was like a ray of sunshine, you know. And I know that when we talked on the show right after we found out that Joel had died, I mentioned to everyone that our family plants a tree for a family member. So I contacted the Arbor Day Foundation, and I had 10 trees planted in Joel's honor, and they're sending a certificate to his family. And they're going to be planted at the Wallowa Whitman National Forest. It had been in several of the fires, and one of my friends out west had recommended that one. But one of them, they don't designate which one, but they have his name near the tree. So hopefully the certificate says that. But it just that way he lives on somewhere else, and that's just something that we do in my family. So
Thank you, Barbara.
yeah, I'm gonna cry.
Who'd like to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
He was just so energetic, so full of life. It's just he was a great speaker. I could literally envision him standing on the steps of a federal government building and getting everyone's attention as they're walking by. Very moving and very inspirational.
Yeah.
And I am very grateful. I mean, like I said, I didn't know him very long, but he shared his vision with everybody. And he had this vision, and he was very passionate about it. And he was like an old soul. It was like I was speaking to a 75, 80-year-old man, you know, or listening to one talk about the changes that they've seen go through, the nation's gone through, and kind of like we would sit and listen to our grandparents talk about the past, kind of how it moved into the future, and he was headed towards that vision that he had. And I just hope that somehow, some way, I'll be able to help continue his legacy, and that many young people as well will be able to do so, because that was his goal, that was his dream, was for young people. Like he said, I was listening to his speeches, and one of them was, I wrote down Joe-isms is what I wrote. The vote, baby, vote.
Yeah.
And the I'll stand up and say something. I will say something. You know, he was very just out there. And stand up, speak up, he said, and that's true. And then the song came to mind. Nobody does it better, but I was like, nobody said it better than Joe.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He'll be missed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cindy. Who'd like to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Go ahead, Reverend.
first, let me just thank you for that tribute. It was really beautiful to watch him in all his glory, because Joel was very passionate about advocacy in Charlotte. And I think the sadness that I still feel is because I can't believe it. I can't believe it. The last outdoor event we had around Black Lives Matter, of course, Joel will always come with 4 and 5 pages. So when I say, okay, you get 3 minutes, Joel, he'll come with 4 or 5 pages, okay? And that's not just, that's his speech. Then he'll have 2 or 3 Martin Luther King speeches to go along with it. And people ask me, can I speak again later? Because I have a speech that I want to do. I said, what speech? I want to do Martin Luther King. Okay. Okay, Joe. We were in Marshall's Park, and I think he spoke 3 times at that particular event. That was Joe. But the thing is, everyone who came in contact with him knew that there was something special about him. And I remember the last conversation we had, which is about what he was going to do for this year's election, because this year was the city council, was supposed to be the city council and mayoral election. And I told him, I can't tell you what to do, Joe. But I said to him, but I believe one day you will be the mayor of Charlotte. And I know that's not true. He's gone.
Yeah.
I'm praying and hoping that some other young person is somewhere preparing the way that he used to prepare to speak and to run with similar passion. Because it just saddens me that somebody that was so vibrant, so full of life, so young, with so much before him, like this huge future in politics, is now gone. And for me, there is a void. I feel that void. I just hope that maybe someone in his family that will keep his legacy going. I don't know. The other thing is, Miss Barbara, during one of the storms, my tree got knocked down. If at all possible, we could get a small tree that I could then plant in front of my house and honor him.
I will get one for
Love
you.
it.
Yes,
Because
I will do that.
Joel really was like a tree.
Yeah.
He really was. You could see those branches just grow. Every time he spoke, another branch would grow and the leaves would begin to come out. It was just such a beautiful space to be with him, because he would just go on and on and on about the issues of life and how he believed that it was his responsibility to create that change. If somebody like me who's been doing this work for 46 years in the town that I feel uncomfortable in quite often because of how people are being harmed, I had a level of hope because of the spirit and the life of Joel Odom. So I still feel that void. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Mac, would anyone like to go next?
We have contact information for Reverend Mac, Christian?
Yes, I'll get that
Yeah.
for you. Mhm.
Okay.
Mama Ruth or Stephen or Jenny,
Yeah.
you want to say anything before we close out?
Before we closed out, I don't have enough words.
Yeah.
All I can say, I didn't get to meet his family, but he would always mention his grandma, his great grandma. And now that I became a grandma, I don't know what type of work or what kind of effort that great grandma and that grandma through raising this kid, but I'm just blessing their wombs. I bless their lives because they did an amazing job for this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And when I would hear him speak, when I would hear him express himself, every time he would always focus on his family. I wish my kids, my grandkids, express themselves like that about myself. That's the legacy that I see in him. Besides being a warrior out for our community, he was a big old musketeer for his family. That was Joel. We sure miss him.
Thank you, Mama Ruth. And Minister Mack, I just want to say, when we finish here, if you don't mind ending us in prayer. So would anyone else like to say anything?
I'll just say this, that even though Joel was more than a decade my junior, he's a guy I found a lot of inspiration in a lot of ways. I did look up to him, even though he was much younger than me. I feel very lucky to have been able to know him.
Every time I think of Joel, I think of the first time I met him, and there was a really big multi-party political thing in 2019 at the Heights Brewery, and he had the first booth. He just came in the door. He had one of the first booths. I mean, he may even have the first.
I
booth.
remember that.
And he's standing behind his thing, Joel Odom for mayor, and I didn't know who he was. You know, I hadn't lived in Charlotte very long. And he's sitting there back there smiling. I thought, well, this must be Joel Odom's kid, you know, high school kid, junior high kid, sitting back behind there. He was so baby faced. And I was like, hey, when's Joel getting here? And he's like, no, I'm Joel. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. And he went right into his pitch, and I was just blown away. And the whole time I'm thinking, this guy's the same age as my middle child. And, you know, it just this passion. And I'm just like, so we went through the whole night, and there was Mayor Val Lyles was there, and there was Marianne Williamson that was running for president. But you know who stuck with me the whole time? It was the first person I met was Joel. And we're talking about a presidential candidate that I saw speak, our mayor, current mayor, all of these different people running for Senate and everything else. The takeaway that I got the most impressed from was Joel. And I'll never forget that night. And I'll never forget his graciousness and his humility and his passion and his very contagious smile. What a beautiful human being.
Yeah.
And we're all lucky to have met him. A true blessing.
Well, thank you so much. And once again, you can watch this later on Facebook or YouTube, and I'm actually going to all of the 700 minutes that we originally had, I'm going to put and send it to his family, because I think they deserve to hear all the wonderful stuff he said. And he loved his family. He was so proud of the strong women in his family. You couldn't hear it, but there was an episode about strong Latinas, and he talked about his family and how much they fed him, and it was just the love that came from him. And even he just found like positive in everything. I mean, and that's one of the things that I think most people who have met him, and I said this the last time, that there are very few people that you meet that everyone likes. I mean, everyone who met Joel is like, he's just a really nice guy. But what I really know, just in politics, he loved Charlotte. He loved Charlotte. He loved this city. And he was willing to speak truth to power. He was willing to say, I don't know if you saw if you could hear the segment about the Black Political Caucus, the things he said, and the lady at his church that was mad at him because he was running for mayor. And, he was just so initially, I didn't really, but there are four things that I've always looked whenever I decide to endorse or support someone who's running for office. And they are, do they have character, courage, judgment, and decency? And I can say there's probably only a handful of people that I've ever met that actually have character, courage. He's had the courage to speak out and speak to things, judgment. He was a young, 22 years old, but the most important thing is he was a decent person. And that's very rarely do you meet someone who's decent in politics. So I'd like to end this with thanking you for joining us. And I know this was a little unorthodox with the music in the background, and I just wanted to let you know, as Barbara said, when we found out about his passing, the first thing we all said to each other was not only, oh my gosh, because, he, was on our show for 11 times. And then the Friday night before he passed, and you saw at the very end where he said, I've got to say goodbye. And when I saw that, I almost thought he was telling us, I'm going to say goodbye, but I know that as a person of faith, I will see him again one day.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I ended it with him saying, I'm Joe Oldham, because I know when I see him again, he's going to come to me and he's going to say, hi, I'm Joe Oldham. I'm, So I'd like to end this, if you don't mind, Minister Mack, by, and those who are faith and those, please, I'd like if you would indulge us with a prayer, we can end this.
Sure. Before I begin the prayer, I just want to send love and light to everyone on here. Jenny, it's so good to see you. Really good to see you. And thank you again for having me on here with people who love and respect Joel as much as I respect Joel and love Joel. All hearts and mind clear, please. Father God, we come before you tonight. Some of us with our hearts heavy for the transitioning of Joel Odom, your son. We know that he's in a better place. Even if he had an opportunity to return, he wouldn't, because he's being rocked in your loving arms. And so we want to thank you. God, we ask you now, if you do nothing else, to give us the peace that surpasses all understanding as we try to get past this situation of losing Joel. God, touch each and every person on this program today and edify us, oh God. Lift us up, oh God. And give us an assignment that we will continue the work that Joel started. Now, God, as we leave this program and take our rest, cover us with the blood. Keep us from all hurt, harm, and danger. And allow us to awaken tomorrow morning to begin our day, to be a blessing to our community, the Charlotte community. Touch every viewer and every person who views this particular program, that they will come to an understanding that at 22 years old, the light that you gave Joel is also in them, and that each person will feel accountable and responsible to do something to uplift our communities. We thank you in advance for what you're about to do in this place, Charlotte, North Carolina. We pray this, at least I pray this, in the name of Jesus. Amen and amen.
Amen.
Well, once again, thank you for joining us, and thank you for everyone who participated, and thank you for my Coffee and Pandusi family for wanting to do this. And we do hope that his family understands that Joe belongs to, as Mama Ruth said, Joe belongs to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Charlotte loves him. And I know that his footprint will be forever in Charlotte. And I do hope if anyone has decided to start a scholarship in his name, or something to continue for young people to get involved, I'm going to do everything I can to support that. And I know at his candlelight visual that the NAACP and family members and some other people held for him on Friday night, they talked about how he always wanted a hospital in the West Side. So Commissioner Jarrell, commissioners, all the commissioners, let's that's a big tale, but
A big thing.
How
about like one room or something first?
Hey, you know what? Let's get him a whole hospital.
Room or
Yeah.
something? Yeah.
Well, they're redoing the Batesburg corridor, which is where he lived. They put a medical center up there. We should be really advocating that it's named after Joel. And that's what I'm going to do.
That's a really
Hey.
good idea.
That's a good idea. Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for spending your time with us. But more importantly, thank you for helping us pay tribute to Joel Odom. And I don't know if you guys noticed, and Steve and I have joked about this, I mispronounced his name almost every show, and he didn't correct me once. So he was such a gracious person.
Sweet guy.
We say in my family, he was raised right.
Yeah, really.
So once again, we're going to disconnect. Thank you for joining us in Coffee and
Bye.
Fondue.
Hey, guys.
Thank you,
Good night.
everyone.